But yeah.
There's a lot of good options for super guns though nowadays, like the Sentinel super gun, and the minigun that they come out with is very
that's what
very accessible.
Yeah, and they're getting cheaper too. Like the technology is getting better. They're getting smaller or more compact, and they're getting better just all overall. So like I was about to buy one on OfferUp that was old, and I realized the guy was getting rid of it because he was upgrading to something better. So I was like, I think I'm just gonna wait until Ben got a nice one from China that works perfectly fine for him, and it has Saturn controllers right on the front of it. That works.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Saturn controller ports that works with the STV. So that I was considering that one, but I just figured I can't really afford one right now anyway. So I might as well just wait and see what happens. And if we get to a point where kind of that one comes down in price, then I'll probably just snatch one up.
Yeah, because the cool thing is you can also buy them in pieces. So just buy the board, then buy the power supply and stuff. And then buy the controllers, because the controllers that are usually on super guns are DB15. So if you have a Neo Geo controller, it would work perfectly.
Right. Well, anything else you want to say?
I don't know.
Yeah, if you just send me one, I don't know. Like I'm not gonna return it. That's for sure.
Actually, I wonder if I still have that. I'll take a look.
All right. But I'm not going to hold you to anything. But I will say this. So any other things you wanted to add to this game before we leave it?
I'm good. I definitely want to segue into probably if you want to do like a Mount Rushmore. I kind of want to see what your Mount Rushmore of beat 'em ups were on the topic.
3D or 2D?
Either or.
I mean, okay. So do we consider Cannon Spike a beat 'em up?
That one's a multi-genre because it's like a shoot 'em up and a beat 'em up sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So because I was gonna say that's like almost one of my favorite games of all time. But if not that, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I typically have the most fun with either Streets of Rage 2 or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. You know, those two games from my youth, and like picking up a controller and playing with a friend. Those are just a lot of fun. I never don't have, you know, like I always have fun playing those two games. But that said, I mean, like Die Hard Arcade, played it a ton, like in the movie theater, waiting for movies to start, you know, played it in the arcade. And that would probably be like a close second, like right there. Yeah, that's kind of it for me. Those three games. And I realized Turtles in Time, I do favor Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. Sacrilege, I know to say, instead of the Manhattan, not the Manhattan, what is it, the Hyperstone heist on the Genesis.
Yeah,
I think I just prefer the SNES one. I mean, that's the one I played, you know, back in Hyperstone. Yeah. Night of Dragon was saying, yeah, so I've played them both, but yeah, if I'm gonna play one or the other, me and my son, you know, we hop on the SNES version. That's just the one that we have the most fun with. So
oof, rip Sega.
I was a Super Nintendo fan back in the day. I really was. Before I mean, my sister had a Genesis, and yeah, I'd play like Aladdin or I'd play Sonic the Hedgehog. Excellent, outstanding games. But I mean, I really didn't come into a love for the Sega Genesis until after the sun had already set on it. It was kind of like I went backwards. I fell in love like head over heels with the Saturn. Just fall all into the Saturn, and then after that I came back around and realized just what a great, absolutely phenomenal console the Sega Genesis was. But not back in the day. You know, my dad got me a Super Nintendo with Zelda, you know, Link to the Past, and Super Mario World and Star Fox, and it's like, what kid? I was in heaven, you know, with those games. Like, I can't even as a Saturn and a Sega fanboy say that, you know, the Super Nintendo wasn't an absolutely excellent console.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. I'm actually a late bloomer for the Super Nintendo as well, and that I have to say over the Genesis, Super Nintendo is miles ahead of Genesis in my opinion. Like, I think it's like way better, but I actually was a late bloomer as well. I got it. I remember I found my uncle's NES and I played that for a bit. And one of my friends just gave me his Super Nintendo. It was like, I saw it like in a pile in a garbage bag. It's like, it's like, hey, you playing that? I was like, oh yeah, no, you can have it. And I was like, cool. So I remember, yeah, it was weird.
Nice.
It came with it came with Chrono Trigger. It came with both the Super Mario World and All Star,
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And those are some of my favorite games I ever played on that. Oh, and Kirby Superstar.
Kirby
And those are my
Superstar.
favorite games. Yeah, my favorite games on that console. And I played it for like weeks. It was amazing. It blew my mind how good the games were and like how amazing they were. And sadly, like a month later, his parents realized it was gone, and he wasn't supposed to give it to me. So he had to take it. He went and took everything back, and his parents didn't take it back.
Oh,
and
man.
the last time I talked to him, I think they said that they eventually just threw it away, which is
That's
big
such
sadness.
a shame. That is such a shame. You know, I don't agree with you that it's miles above. It is, for RPGs, it is miles above. And I mean, I love the Shining series. I love some of the RPGs on Sega Genesis, but I mean, come on, you can't compete with the Square Enix, or back then just Squaresoft stuff. You can't compete with Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy 6 or 3 in the West. But those are just such phenomenal games. I do think the Super Nintendo takes it for RPGs, and I think it takes it for games like Super Metroid. Like Super Metroid is just such a phenomenal game. But
Hey, I'm gonna say something really controversial.
why are we talking about Nintendo?
I still think that Sparkster is the best Rocket Knight game out of all of them. Like better than 1 or 2 on the Genesis. The Sparkster and SNES is one of my favorite games of all time. So
yeah,
but
I hear you.
yeah.
So anyway, I mean, I own both. I love both. Arguably, Sega Genesis, you toss a CD attachment on there, and you got the whole Sega CD library. So I mean, like in terms of like what it brought to the table, you know, Sega Genesis is phenomenal. I think it's an absolutely amazing console. If I had to let one go, like on Desert Island situation, I probably. Dang it, that's my alarm for the skylight. I probably would have to go with the Sega Genesis. And I mean, that would be painful too, though, because I wouldn't want the RGB also looks so amazing from the Sega Genesis. I don't know. We got to stop talking about this because it's just going to make me sad having to like choose between one or the other. That's the thing, guys.
Like, it definitely would be SNES for me on the Desert Island.
Growing up in this console wars, though, you had to choose. Most kids had to choose. You weren't, unless you were like a super rich kid, you had to take sides, you know. And it was like you were either a Sega kid or a Nintendo kid. And luckily, my family, we were not super rich, but my sister wanted a Genesis and I wanted a SNES, and it just so happened that it was like she got it for one birthday, and then a year later I got the SNES for my birthday, and so we had both in our household, and we did kind of get to experience them both. But I swear, like, I pretty much spent all my time on the Super Nintendo until the Saturn came out, and that kind of changed everything. So